Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is April the 14th, 1443 on the ancient moon calendar, 1444 on the ancient sun calendar, which is important for weather-wise, and 2022 on the Greco-Roman calendar. Let me introduce us. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity. This is a sovereign, living, ancient Article 3, Moorish American, Al-Moroccan court action. We are the sovereign living justices in capitis nationall, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. I am sovereign living justice Pauline Denise Ritchie, in capitis nationall, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes, and my free chosen sovereign appellation is like to jury bay, in capitis nationall, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. All Moors are the original indigenous, sovereign, ancient Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites and Canaanites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original indigenous, natural, divine, ancient empire state of Morocco, the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government, the universal Moorish American Article 3 consulate, and the Article 3 Moorish American consular court. We are peace, we are one nation, we are one state, one empire, and we are one God. We hereby exercise all sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time. So I just have a couple of things that we're going to go through really quickly, and then we'll get right into judicial banking. But I saw these things in my study, and I wanted to bring them forth really quickly. So does anyone know who this is on the screen? And I know you all are, it's in lecture mode. Let me see. I'll just pull it out of lecture mode here. Does anyone know who this is? Yes, in the chat. Yes. That is Benjamin Franklin. Yes, he is brown-skinned. He's a Moor. Where did this come from? I was looking at the U.S. National Archives YouTube channel, and I'll put the link to it in the chat. This is hanging up at a town in the UK. So for our UK Moors, the nobles, the justices who are governing at UK, this is there. A town called Ecton. It is in Northamptonshire, England. And that is where his father was from, Benjamin Franklin's father. And he did so much in terms of this land here that they celebrate him there. Okay. And yes, Northamptonshire, just north of London. Okay. And this is a copy of his last will and testament, and you can't really see it clearly on here. However, yes, Justice Morley from the UK territory, Northamptonshire. That is correct. Thank you for that. This is his last will and testament that he wrote. He wrote it in copper red because the ink back then was made of copper. And over time, the red turns brown. This document is actually over here This document is at the American Philosophical Society at Philadelphia Territory. And the reason we bring him up is because he played a key role in finance here. Yes, I believe they all are, Justice Raymond, in the chat. I believe they all are. I believe we've been, you know, we've been given some stories or some photos of people that's just not, that's not real. So this will is currently held at the American Philosophical Society at Philadelphia Territory. And he was also the Postmaster General because he saw that financially the financial system needed to change in order to accomplish some things, or at least it needed to be put in place a particular way. So he did 1 year in Philadelphia as the Postmaster General, and that post office, that building is still there. Okay. So I put the link to the video that I was watching. I put the link to it in the chat, and it'll be under this video as well. Moving on, we want to remember our national fast, which starts tomorrow, April 15th, 16th, and 17th. And you can do sun up to sundown, or you can do water only for the whole 3 days. Whatever, you can fast from meat, you can fast from sugar, you can fast from food altogether, and drink just water. However, you can fast from negative energy. You can fast from whatever it is that you're inspired to fast from, and however you want to do your fast. But for this next 3 days, we want to focus our energy on further manifestation of our nation. The reason why that's important is because each one of us, our mothers sent us here to do something, each one of us. And those things all work together. So whatever your mother sent you here to do, these next 3 days, we are focusing on cohesiveness and bringing it all together. My mother sent me here to do what we're talking about today. It works hand in hand with whatever you're doing, because it doesn't matter what we're doing on the land. Banking is a part of it, or nationality is a part of it, either one. And, you know, so the next 3 days we want to just focus on unifying. We're already unified in the spirit. We just need to continue to manifest that unity here in this dimension and in our work. Okay, so the second thing is, please, with regard to the fiduciary affidavit, based on what I'm seeing and what we're doing, please add numbers to your fiduciary affidavit. Okay, the fiduciary affidavit takes control of the capitalism where the lettering and the ink is concerned on the contracts, because we know that in our fleet, all of the contracts, no matter what they said, were fraudulent contracts because of capitalism. We know that the United States Corporation Company, the dead one, was here to do commerce, and that's why they turned everything into commerce. And that led to trafficking of humans and babies, etc. So we needed to completely obliterate that and do away with it, and then take control of our own capitalism, because that's what economies are, you know, grow by. Okay. So add numbers to the fiduciary document, because this banking piece is going to require that the numbers that we take control of the numbers too. And we have it already, we know that. But we need to go ahead and competently place that information into our fiduciary affidavit. So I just put 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 as, you know, no matter how it's presented, those are state instruments. So they belong to the state, which is all of us, okay? All 9 digits plus 0 in the chat. All 9 digits plus 0. And that's going to cover all the rest of the numbers, including negative numbers if need be. Okay. Thirdly, the Constitution. Please and thank you so much. We've gotten so many constitutions in our email since the last call that every time I saw one come in, or even an email asking about them, I'm just excited. Because as you all know, the stars and Pluto has aligned in announcement of what we're doing, okay? And Pluto has moved into the same position that it was in 1776. So all we're really doing is doing what was done, what we were told was done then. We're being inspired by our ancestors to do that now. What are we doing with the Constitution? The territories are proclaiming their existence. Okay, we're taking control completely of our land, the way that our ancestors meant for it to be taken control of. And so those who have started looking at those state constitutions, they are so powerful. The documents are so powerful. So I was looking at the Washington documents, the Washington Constitution, because, you know, we're editing, redoing, and I've gone through it, and I'm going back through it again and again and again, just to look some things up and to edit some things and just to make it feel like it fits with our chakras and all that, you know, our energies, and then, you know, putting it on the public record. And as I was going through it, I saw something that I wanted to point out. It says whenever there is an impeachment or a removal from office, okay, so if you remember correctly, the custodians and subjects acted out that Bill Clinton was removed from office or impeached, and they acted out that Donald Trump was removed from office or impeached, right? They acted those things out, and there are others, Richard Nixon, etc., those custodians and subjects acted that out, that they were removed from office or impeached. Well, at that time, all of the land, all property, everything, boundaries, properties, everything, returned back to the state, okay? So they acted that out. We know now that that is the truth in fact and at law, that the state, and in particular, this state, and when I say this state, again, we have declared our statehood. So with no one in the fake dead corporate office, we've all of us have put our presidential affidavits on the public record. So we are all in our proper status and in that office. So we don't need one president. We need everybody to be the president because we all govern together. So, and, you know, that may change over time. I don't know. But right now, the way things are going, we all need to do this together. And we're always going to do it together. Okay? We don't need a king. We don't need a president. We don't need any of that. We all need to do those responsibilities because this is our land. And so I looked in the Washington Territory Constitution, and I saw here it says in Article 17 with regard to tied land, because anytime I see lands, I pay specific attention, and that's in all of the constitutions. They talk about the land. It says Washington, and we changed because it did say state of Washington or it named something corporate. We took that out and we just said Washington asserts its ownership to the beds and shores of all navigable waters in the state up to and including the line of ordinary high tide, in waters where the tide ebbs and flows, and up to and including the line of ordinary high water within the banks of all navigable rivers and lakes, provided that this section should not be construed so as to debar any person from asserting his claim to vested rights in the courts of the state. So either way, the Moors own everything, because either we own the land because we're the state, or we own the land because we have stated in our court, as stated here, that we have a vested right among ourselves to the land. So, and when you talk about navigable waters, that's jurisdiction. So again, we're talking about admiralty law, merchant law, the law of the high seas and the law of the sea. That is what gives us further affirmation of our sovereign authority to do the things that we're doing. So we always want to keep the law in mind as we're moving forward. In fact, the law goes before we do, because we are the law. So whenever we're presenting the things that we're doing, and we presented last week the general resolution that we are uplifting and upholding as the law for us in our own language, in our own writing. The resolution that says that the sovereign nations have complete authority over our sovereign natural resources. And here it says in Section 2, disclaimer of certain lands, Washington disclaims all title in and claim to all tide, swamp, and overflowed lands patented by the United States, and this is about those land patents, provided the same is not impeached for fraud. And we know what happened with what the custodians acted out. Okay, there's no statute of limitations on fraud. Okay, so we know who the land belongs to again, and that's in something. There's something similar in all of the state constitutions. So we need to look at that, make sure that those parts, you know, and I'm sure they'll resonate when we write them out the same way this resonated with us as well. Having said that, we know that, again, that also, not only are we the heirs to the land, but we govern the land, okay? We are the state. The state has authority and ownership over the land, okay? So that is what is, because when some people say, well, where's the gold, that backs what you all are saying. Well, it's in the land. The gold is in the land, but we're the gold too. So we have, you know, 1,000 different backings, 1,000,000 trillion different backings for what we're doing. Okay. Having said that, judicial banking. So we have been introducing our affidavits. We speak by affidavit. Why do we speak by affidavit? We speak by affidavit because that whole previous banking system, our prophet said that the economy was going to grind to a halt, and when it starts back up again, it's going to start back up in the favor of the Moors. We put it in our favor already. That's a done deal. It's a wrap. So why is it that we speak by affidavit? Because the electronic banking system has been completely compromised, obliterated. It's been broken, hacked up into, and it's hacked into about 1,000,000 trillion pieces. There's been so much theft going on in that quote unquote system, okay, that no one knew about, but they've been publishing it. We just haven't been, because it doesn't affect each one, you know, supposedly, but it really does. We've not been paying that much attention to it, but I went to the quote-unquote International Monetary Fund, the Office of the International Monetary Fund website. And by the time they say it publicly, it's already done, and there's no going back, okay? So what they put on their website is, it says cyber threats to the financial system are growing. That means that things have already happened, and it's growing. And the global community must cooperate to protect it. What are they really saying? They're saying that they need help, that somebody's going to have to do something because they can't do it. It says in February 2016, hackers targeted the Central Bank of Bangladesh. Bangladesh is not the only one. All of them were targeted. How do we know that? Because they're actually stating that publicly. It says here, and exploited vulnerabilities in SWIFT. And when they say SWIFT, they're saying SWIFT in all capital letters and black ink for them. It says the global, and SWIFT is electronic. It says the global financial, and it's really just email. It's an email system. It's glorified email. The global financial system's main electronic payment messaging system, that's why they call it a messaging system, because it's just email. It says trying to steal 1 billion. While most transactions were blocked, 101 million still disappeared. Well, who had to pay for that? It says the heist was a wake-up call for the finance world that systemic cyber risks in the financial system had been severely underestimated. And I'm going to put these links in the chat so that you can see that they said that that happened in 2016, but before that and after that, trillions are missing from the dead corporate debtor system. Now, we're not missing anything, Moorish. Let's just get that straight. We're not missing anything. Okay. So in the chat, and I'll put them under this video at Like to Jure channel, in the chat, those two videos showed how widespread, it's earth-wide, that the system's been cleaned out. That system, not ours. Cleaned, and when I say cleaned out, I'm surprised anything is going back and forth. I'm surprised if anything, but I know that the things that are going back and forth are necessary. And our ancestors are looking out for us all, for all of us, making sure, you know, we may not have, you know, caviar and all of that, but who wants that anyway? Not right now, but they're looking out for us and making sure that we eat every day, you know, for those who eat every day, because some people fast sometimes, more often than not. And it may not be luxurious, but as we're getting this work done, things will always get better. It's getting better already. But that system's been cleaned out completely. Yes, Infertility said in the chat, right now we are on manna. Yes, we are. And it's going to get better. It's going to get better, definitely. So why am I bringing that up? Because I'm bringing it up because it's electronic things that are compromised. And that's why our banking system is so important. And the way that we bank is so important. Because we have the safest banking on earth right now. We've always had the safest banking on earth when we do it the way that we do it. We speak by affidavit. So what we're going to do, there was a question that was asked before the recording started by one of the Moorish, and we are so honored that Empress Rima is here. She asked about how people are going to get fed, how people are going to be able to get the things they need. So we want to go ahead and put that the information for that here today as well. On this past Sunday, we were talking about merchant cards. We're going to continue that today, and we're going to show you what the merchant cards look like. The one that we showed last week was not quite complete, and since then, the ancestors gave us so much more information that it looks completely different this week than it did last week. But I trust the ancestors; they know what they're doing. So again, this 101 million that disappeared, it's more like trillions and trillions and trillions that has gone out of that system. But it had to, because the system has to be cleaned completely and washed and uncorrupted. So it had to be emptied first so that all the holes could be plugged in. And that we're doing with our affidavit. We're fixing the system even now. But it's just like a boat. You can't plug up all the holes if you got a whole bunch of stuff in the way. You got to move all of that stuff out of the way and then see what the issues are and then fix them. Either that or chunk that boat and get a new one. And that's really, we're going back to the ancient one. So with regard to safety and our banking system, how do we keep our system safe? Well, there was a question that came up this past week with regard to safety of our network, our banking network. Yes, it is going folks' business. Just to sound hack. So a question came, and listen, there are no coincidences. There are no coincidences. A question came up on social media after our merchant card demonstration that we did last week, and this was the question. I'm so glad that this question came up. It was a brilliant question, even though the one who put the question forth was at war. We love him. And we want him to know that we love him. We're not going to put his information out here on this call. He put it out on the public record himself previously. But this is the question. It says, you're saying that each Moor is the consumer, the merchant, the acquirer, the card network, and the issuing bank. What payment gateway is being used for tokenization and PCI compliancy? PCI compliancy is, here, let me show you first. PCI compliancy is payment card industry compliancy. So any payment cards that are being used, whether it's to receive payments or to send payments, they have to have a certain compliance where safety is concerned. And there's an industry that is specifically to manage that, to govern that, or an office of to govern that. And tokenization is just something that it's another computer program that was put in place in between the one doing the business and the bank that is, or the network rather, that the payments go across. So tokenization is nothing more than an encryption for the electronic information that goes across the line that says, $49.99 went from Safeway to the bank, or back and forth, or from the bank to Safeway rather, or from the bank to the grocery store. There's that conveyance method, that line. All they did was insert yet another scrambling mechanism or an encryption mechanism. It just changes the way the information looks. But tokenization can be hacked also, because if someone gets the key to the encryption, then if someone who works at the tokenization company gets fired and he's mad and he knows the keys to that, which is a lot of times what happens in those companies, then he can walk away and quote unquote anonymously put the information out there. Happens a lot. You know, the custodian Edward Snowden proved that with the NSA, a custodian at the office of the NSA. So this was my response to tokenization and PCI compliance, and then I'm going to prove this response today as well. I said there was a question placed in the comments, and the question disappeared, and I don't know. There's an algorithm that will remove things if they have certain language in them, and the algorithm removed the question. I did not remove it, the algorithm did. But I happened to see it, and I screenshot it before it got removed. So in this case, for clarification and expansion on our ancient gateway, the gateway for payment, first, we're not consumers, and that's consumers in capital letters in the dead format. We are the living heirs to all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. With regard to your question, gateway and PCI compliance are based on specific data and metadata elements. We are the rarest of said elements. And when people talk about metadata, meta really does mean for us spirit. For those who don't have a soul, it means death. But for those of us who have a spirit and a soul and we're eternal, meta means spirit. We are the rarest of said elements. Our specific data elements for purposes of this discourse are the actual written formulas of our oxyribonucleic acid distinction. Because as you know, we don't have deoxyribonucleic acid. Di means two. We have one. We're not mixed, we are pure. Okay? We have, for our oxyribonucleic acid distinction, along with our chromosomatic count distinction, and as you may or may not know this, but this is scientifically proven, we do not have the same chromosome count as other species. Our chromosome count is 24, not 46, not 48. It's 24. It's 23 from the earth realm and 1 from the God realm. So when they tell the story of the gods coming to the earth and consummating with the daughters of men, there's some truth there. Okay? We're not who they told us we were. So we have a chromosomatic count distinction. It's distinct from all others. These highly unique and specific data values, together with our ancient spiritual metadata formulatics, in other words, the formula for our spiritual makeup, and that one has not been written on this earth by any custodian. Okay, it can't be written by custodians. The spiritual metadata formulatics in written format are the gateway. So our spirit realm, our chromosome count, our alkalinity, as it were, in other words, our oxyribonucleic acid distinction, those three together make up the gateway. Said gateway is written in string format, and string format is just, it's exactly what it says. It reminds you of a DNA sequence. Okay, string format. And the DNA sequence, the ancient DNA sequence, some would have you believe that somebody took something out of that and put something in it that wasn't real. But whenever the real is there, nothing fraudulent can be there, because that which starts in truth stays in truth. Okay? These highly unique and specific formulatics in written format are the gateway. Said gateway is written in string format, which converts the values to strings, much like a written DNA sequence based on the format specified, and inserts them into our ancient ancestral strings. When inserted into our ancestral string with our ancestors, all placeholders and representations are, and I put the word obliterated, but obliterated is quite violent, so maybe I should change that to replaced or placed, something like that. The placeholders and representations are removed and the truth is put there. This proper placement also causes the original ancient string to continue without end. That is the PCI compliance and tokenization gateway information that supports our ability to create infinite wealth. They created infinite debt. The corporate debt, Corp's Federal Reserve created infinite debt. That's what QE, quantitative easing, is all about. Okay? What they did was they just start printing a whole bunch of electronic fiat. Well, and the reason that they were printing bunches and bunches of electronic fiat is because people kept taking it out of the system. Okay? People kept taking it out. And I won't say people, entities and hackers and so on and so forth kept taking large chunks of it out. And there was no way for them to stop that. But the system had to be cleaned out so that it could be made incorruptible. Okay. So with that, we are able to create infinite wealth. And I thank him for the question because it was a great question. So now, what does this mean? This all means that because of our bloodline and birthright, we have the ability, even whether you're talking scientifically, financially, naturally, in the spirit realm, at all levels and all dimensions, we have the authority and the ability to create infinite wealth. Even in the bibliotext, which some call the Bible, it says that we have the power to get wealth. And for us, it's not getting it, it's creating it. Okay? So the laws on all dimensions support and affirm what we're doing. But it's because of our right red thumbprint and our sovereign autograph in red ink in all lowercase letters in the first set of documents that any other wealth can be created. Benjamin Franklin knew that too. So we showed you at the beginning of this call where he put things in red. It's on display here, there at Philadelphia Territory. Put it in red. Put your right red thumbprint, and again, he was a Moor. No one can create wealth but the Moor. Okay, you have to be a Moor to do it. So if you hear of anyone creating wealth, just know that they are Moors. So here, the payment card industry data security standards. Now we know again that corporations cannot govern. I'll go ahead and put the link to this resource. It's the information, just research, some basic PCI research. But it's as we're demonstrating who we are, it's up to us to do the research, regardless of the fact that we know we're the heirs of everything. It's our job to research when we're introducing things and putting laws in place. We have to research all the rabbit holes to see, is this something we need to be looking at, etc. So where PCI compliance is concerned, it's a set of security standards designed to ensure that all companies that accept, process, store, or transmit credit card information maintain a secure environment. For us, it's not credit cards like they have. It is creditor cards. So for us, again, the spelling changes. Our cards are prepaid, always have been and always will be, and we're going to illustrate that shortly. The process of tokenization and payment card industry compliance and how it works in exchanges and transactions is as follows. So we were asked the question at the beginning of the call, how are people going to eat? What are they going to do? How does that work? We begin this showing you how that happens with a merchant who is going to a place to receive either a good or a service on the land. So this is how you receive the things that you need and that you want. The Moorish merchant sends affidavits well in advance of their arrival, stating their lawful intention. Okay? Now, when we say that, again, the 6 powerful court actions starting with nationality in red and all lowercase letters must be on the record by court action, because these only courts can order this type of sovereign banking. Okay, no random subject can do that. Courts have to do it. And Moors are the court. We've always been the court, but we still need to even come together to do it. So this is not something that we do separate and apart per se. We had to be the state first, and we're that already. Okay, so the Moorish merchant sends affidavits well in advance of their arrival, stating their lawful intention. And the last time that I did a demonstration similar to this, and with all of our demonstrations, I sent a total of about 40-something affidavits. Is that necessary for every demonstration? No.
Helping you because you're with light.
It's not. Huh?
I told her blow them up on Facebook.
What's that? Say again. Say again. Justice Dawood, are you speaking?
I'm sorry. That was a mistake.
Oh, okay. So we notify with 40-some documents. We notified all of the quote-unquote, all of the inferior courts. You know, you all know all the ones that we've notified, but we'll say it again. Everyone. The ones in the custodians in the office of the Secretary of State, the custodians in the office of the governor, the custodians in the office of the courts, the inferior courts. We notified everyone with those 40-some documents. It's not necessary for everyone to have them, but if you want them, they will be under this video. You can type them out, put them together for yourself, and put them on the public record and begin notifying. Put them on Moorish government letterhead and notify. So notification, office of the bank manager, office of the company CEO, office of the manager, and all of these places will have been liened before you go there, or at least the lien on the United States Corporation Company, the dead one. All of those liens need to be in place before you demonstrate by court action. Okay. And in this case, for example, when I do demonstrations, you all already are aware that I've done demonstrations where the custodians in the Office of Navy Federal Credit Unions are concerned, because that's where I was doing demonstrations previously as well. And once they signed for the documents that we gave them, including $100 million in dollarium, we started doing demonstrations back and forth with regards to our merchant actions and things like that. And so far, so good. So all agents, principals, heirs, assigns, and any derivatives of the same documents are going to be with you, the merchant, at the time of your appearance to get whatever it is that you need. So you send your documents ahead of you, and then you take copies with you, already sealed, stamped, signed, etc. After choosing a good or service from a custodial vendor, the Moorish merchant shows their Moorish American ID card and merchant card to exchange for goods and services. And there's no need to hand your card to anyone, as they will have been notified prior, okay? So in my documents, I'm sending a copy of my card. A copy of my card, and you'll see the new card today. A copy of my card, a copy of those 6 court actions, and, you know, the bank and everyone, the custodians at both places in the offices there will know beforehand what's going to happen on that day that I'm expecting to go and get the things that I need. I actually had an experience with someone that was doing business as the Prince of Saudi Arabia. At one point in my early career when I was working at the front desk of a hotel. And he did exactly what we're saying now. He gave an example of that, where he sent documents beforehand saying he was coming, him and his entourage. And on the day that they showed up, of course, I was left out of the meeting where they said he's coming on this day, so have all this stuff ready for him. So when he came, I didn't know who he was. It was him and about 30 other people. And I was just looking stupid at the desk. This was this was when I was in my 20s. And they, you know, the custodians at the time, they were being corporate people. Hadn't told me anything, and I was one of the very few brown skins there. They hadn't told me anything. And so when he came, he said who he was, and I started looking in the computer for a reservation. Well, there was no reservation in the computer because that's not how they do business. You don't put them in because that's a risk to security. So you don't put them in there. They send documents ahead of time, and then they get affirmation that the documents have been received. And then they show up with 30 other people. That's how they were just, I know now that I was just being shown how we're supposed to do things. So it was not in the computer because that's a security risk. So here, after choosing your good and service, it's Islam nobility.
I had that point exactly. I want to quickly bring up our solution. It's right there. You just said it. When the guy from Arabia came with 30 people, and he brought his documents ahead of time, just like we do in our court actions, our termination of contracts, our liens. We need our militia, our brave, so if we can put in our own man hours equal to maybe a $10 zeros and ones in the bank account to equal $100 in DeLorean, maybe we can invest in our own people, in our own banking system, so it can grow. So if you can invest in our own DeLorean with the zeros and ones from a bank account that we earn from our DLD or whatever we call them, then we can invest in our own self to hire, not erudites, the new braves coming in to help us make our court actions viable. Because, like I said before, nobility is proven, is not assumed. So we had our own militia, and people will see that you're serious. Islam.
So let me keep going because we're coming to all of that. Let me keep going. So Here, after choosing your good or your service from the vendor, you show them your ID and your merchant card. Okay. No need to hand them your card because again, they don't need to handle. And in reality, when he came in this instance that I was just telling you about at the hotel, when he came to the front desk, he didn't even show any ID. He just had so much going on. He just said who he was, and we were supposed to know what to do. We were supposed to know that those rooms were blocked off. They didn't even say in the computer who the rooms were blocked off for. They didn't even say that they were blocked off. They just said they were empty and don't put anybody in them. So it says here, if the custodian is trained properly, which I was not when I was in that hotel situation in my 20s. But always command that the custodian in the office of the manager appear. And if you call them a manager, strike, nope. They're going to be like, this is an imposter. Because only our real manager can tell us to call for a custodian.
Okay.
Any store, I don't care what it is, we manage and govern all of that. So if you call them a manager or you say, I need to speak to the chief or they're custodians in the office of, okay? So you ask for the custodian in the office of the manager to appear. If the custodian is trained properly, they will know what to record, if anything, and generally they won't have to record anything because you will have sent, the exchange will have happened before you get there. That's the point. Okay, and that's why we notify ahead of time. Card number, amount of exchange, no autograph should be necessary as your documents will have already had that on them. You will have an extra copy of your documents on to hand to them at that time. The exchange between the custodian in the office of your bank and the custodian in the office of that vendor will have already been arranged. Now, where grocery stores are concerned, what we would do is send something with, let's say, 100,000 dollarium and say, this should cover our groceries from this time to this time. Okay? So when you're talking about $100 in groceries, you really are actually going to send ahead of time and put you're going to prepay maybe for the year or maybe for the next 5 years, prepay for whatever it is that you get.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Nobility in the chat, allocating the resource. And then as you come in more, this is important, as you come in, you're going to note in your record that you spent this much and this much, or that you exchanged for this much and this much and this much. Okay? So that way all you're doing is showing something just like vendors would do who were quote unquote tax exempt or who had accounts with the grocery store, because there was a time back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and so on, where vendors would have an account with the store, and they would ring everything up, and then at the end of 30 days, the store would send a bill of exchange, and they had to pay that within a certain amount of time so that they could continue that service, getting whatever they need. Well, we prepay. Yes, with dollarium. Gold, real money. We have to, because the old system is done.
Mm-hmm.
Anything using fiat has been hacked and whacked. People have been counterfeiting and all of that. But with dollarium, you cannot counterfeit a hot red autograph and a wet ink thumbprint that matches the affidavit that you sent previously and that matches your ID card. There's no counterfeiting that. So there's your PCI compliance. But we're going to take it a few steps further also. Okay? So the exchange between the custodian at the office of the bank and the custodian at the grocery store or wherever will have already been done. It is at this time that the custodian at the bank will add any allodial cost for the bank doing these things to make a profit on the exchanges. Okay? So for each one of these exchanges that we do, the bank, you know, the custodians at the bank, because see, it's your bank. So your bank is going to be profiting off of what you do and others who use your bank. For example, our bank, the Moorish bank, we would be the ones saying, okay, yes, go ahead and approve, or not approve because it's pre-approved, but send the documentation. When we get the documentation saying we're going to this grocery store and that grocery store, we would talk, the grocery store and us would communicate in writing, and then we would say, okay, yes, this amount for 2 years, $100,000 for 2 years in groceries. Anytime that ID card comes through. Okay. Now, are we doing this right this second? Right now, we're introducing these processes, and then we gotta demonstrate them. We have to demonstrate them because again, the old system has already fallen. It's been hacked. So they're going to prearrange, and the bank will make a profit off of those allodial costs, off of each one of the exchanges each time we go to the grocery store. The custodian at your bank will send corporate authorization, and it's not really authorization. It will be your authorization that you give them. Let me make sure I say that properly. You're giving them authorization to be the custodian and to respond to the other corporate custodian according to whatever it is that you state in your affidavit. So if you say it's $100,000 for 2 years, then it's $100,000 for 2 years, which to me seems to be a bit much, but I'm just using that as an example. So, and then number 5, the custodian in the office of the vendor will give you a final receipt for your exchange at your appearance. So when you appear, they'll give you a final receipt for your exchange. Either that, or they can provide the receipt to the custodian at the bank before you even get there. Okay, and that will generally be done by email or other written correspondence or communication. Okay, and then when they provide the final receipt, which may or may not be necessary, because I think the receipt should be given at the time that the custodian at the bank and the custodian at the grocery store communicate. Then your property is prepaid and there are no bills due. Okay. That's the way listen, this is not new, Morris. This is not a new way to do things. It's new for us because we were not being ourselves. Is there a question, Empress?
Yes. So everything that you're saying makes sense, and you touched on it before in previous conference calls. So I get it. I just was thinking about the subjects and the Moors that don't know that they're Moors. When everything goes down and the banking freezes, people are going to not have the money they thought that they had in their account to get those basic needs. Am I thinking correctly? So
you are kind of sort of thinking correctly, but if I may clarify, if I may clarify just the part about, so there's not going to be a big giant cutoff and everybody running around like crazy except us. That's not going to happen.
Okay.
This is the way it's happening, because it's already happening. But the way it's happening right now, even with some of our clan members, it's like a boa constrictor. The squeeze is happening very slowly but quickly, kind of, sort of. Okay. So, and then it's causing even the subject and the sleeping Moors, it's causing them such uncomfortability that they're starting to look for answers.
Okay.
That's how it's going to happen with everybody. So it's going to be it's a saturation is what it is. Okay? So it's not going to be just a one, like on Tuesday of next week, everything is cut off for everybody. No.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome, Empress. Our ancestors are not monsters. They're not. In fact, they're so kind and generous, and they're just everything. I tell you, they're everything. People do have to wake up, though. And that is accelerating, but it won't make it so that so that half the world starves because they don't know what we know. It's not going to be like that. We actually have the responsibility, and this is why we put everything on the public record right now like this. Because what we put on, by the time this call is over, it's going to be some things on the public record that 10 years ago I'd never thought to do it. But we're putting it on there now because everybody has to know. And the ancestors are such masters at what they're doing that it is tailored for each being on the planet has a tailor-made plan just for them. That's going to make it so that they live if they want to live, and that they prosper if they want to prosper, and that includes the subjects. The subjects love being our subjects because we're so generous. They'll be all right. That's why they have no problem getting in subject status when they hear the right word.
Okay.
Yeah. That's good, Empress. Your heart is in the right place. Absolutely.
Islam. Thank you.
Islam. So, here your property is prepaid and there are no bills. Now this final receipt piece, I'm feeling a little something in my spirit even about that, because the receipt will have already been that will take place when the custodians get together and do what they're supposed to do with regard to the custody of our property and moving things around properly. Okay, so where does tokenization come in at? The tokenization and PCI compliance is designed to keep accounts secure and data invisible to computer hackers. Okay, so that's what tokenization and PCI compliance. It's about computers and networks. The custodians, the bank, which is us, and those in the office of the bank, and we can see our merchant card numbers and other information. We were handing cards. We've been running cards and handing cards the whole time, haven't we? And if you put the card in and the chip doesn't work, they can put the number in manually, can't they?
Yes, they can. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Keep that piece in mind as we move forth, because that piece is going to be important too. Being able to put it in manually is important. So everyone has already been seeing the card numbers and all of that. Everyone can see that already. So tokenization was to scramble the electronic signal so that it couldn't be hacked. Okay, but see, with our card, with our merchant card, everything is done in writing, which cannot be hacked, and that's why we send everything ahead of time.
Empress, I have something else to mention, and I don't mean to keep taking you off topic.
Go ahead, Empress, go ahead.
Okay, I was doing some research, and I saw that some of the so-called banks are creating cards that don't have the embossed numbers on the card. And I was kind of thinking, maybe is that a counter to what we're doing? I was thinking that at one point, and then so I'm not sure what to think of that, but I thought that it should be mentioned as well, because we're talking about hacking, and so our cards are going to have the numbers tied to the account on them. So, you know, I don't know if that's important or not.
It is important, Empress. Every little detail is important. The reason they're doing that is because everything for them is going virtual. And everything for us is becoming real, like touchable, tangible. Okay? And so the reason the numbers weren't embossed in the first place is because they were able to put them in what they call a little, it's like a manual Zahn machine, not a Zahn machine, a manual carbon copy printer. And you just slide that thing across those embossed numbers, and it would engrave the numbers into the page, into the carbon copy piece. Some merchants are going to want that because those are actual deposit slips that you can put in the bank.
Okay.
So if I was a merchant, I would use that because it can't be hacked. It's not electronic, but you can still deposit it in the bank. And then you'll have red, autographed in red in all lowercase letters, or autographed in blue in capitis diminucio minima, or in capitis diminucio nullo, which means the first letter capitalized and the rest of the letters lowercase. Mm-hmm. You'll have that from the Moors so that they can get what they need as well. Okay. Now, it doesn't. Merchants are to honor all cards anyway. Okay. Merchants are to honor all cards, all lawful cards anyway. But our cards are going to be embossed. Our cards are going to be embossed. We have the ability to do that. So we'll show you in just a minute what that looks like. So with our merchant cards, everything is done in writing, which cannot be hacked. The actual security is in our white red thumbprint and our autograph in red ink in capitis diminucio nullo. The exchange is a ledger exchange, so no hacking can occur. So the things that happen between the custodians in the office of the bank and the custodians in the office of the vendors is going to be manual.
Okay, it's starting to make sense to me now.
Banking.
Because our accounts are not debtor accounts, so they're not actually going into the account taking anything out. They're just using the information to add credits to their accounts. Okay.
That's lawful banking, Empress. Ooh, come on, Empress. That's good.
Okay.
That's good. That's real banking.
Okay.
And it's safe. It's the safest banking on earth.
Yes, that makes sense.
It's ledger exchange. Yes, it's ledger exchange. I'm so glad, Empress, and I knew it would. Your spirit is open. The spirit is open. The spirit is telling us what we need to do. Okay? Because, again, the other system has been so corrupted that, nobody can get anything in or out. Okay? So it is ledger-to-ledger banking, and you can Google that term, ledger-to-ledger, ledger-to-ledger. The stores and all of that was supposed to have a ledger in the first place. Accountability on our resources. Yes, Justice Morphy, absolutely. And then all of the accounts are the foundation of them is solid because it's based on the bloodline and the birthright and the right of inheritance. So now, Empress, you asked about the cards, and we had the conversation about the cards last week or a couple of days back. So I want to show you all what the card that the ancestors have shown us, and this is an actual card. This is my card. It's already put together and everything. This is what it looks like. As you know, dollars that's a placeholder. It's not money. Dollars is not money. It's a placeholder. And then you put whatever money you use is pegged to that placeholder. Okay? So this is what my card looks like. Where did this number come from? And because last week there was a question about the routing number. And this is my actual card. It can't be hacked because of the way we do our banking. We do ledger-to-ledger banking. When corporations were doing ledger-to-ledger banking, they would give a credit card to their employees, and the employees could use them for whatever they were supposed to use them for. And that's the same. It's the same process here. The same process. Where did this number come from, and how do we know that this is going to be exactly what it should be? I want to show you something, and some are gonna, you know, don't let this confuse you, because let me tell you what we do know. We know, and the banks have already said again, that their system is corrupted. Their corporate system is corrupted. So you know the work that we've done with Navy Federal, where we, the custodians in the office of Navy Federal. Yes, it is. That is Navy Federal routing. That's Navy Federal routing number. If you all look at my documents underneath this, you will know that Navy Federal already signed for these papers, the documents, with regard to the account and all of that. And this is the Navy Federal card that they gave initially. This is a debtor card. Okay, it's a debtor card. We had to do the same thing with that number as we did with the social. It had to be leaned. That card number or the bank had to be leaned, and you all have seen the Navy Federal Bank lien. We've done the court actions and all of that on them, and they accepted all of it. And it wasn't really a matter of them accepting it, it was a matter of us accepting it. They don't have a choice because that's our resource. So this is the Navy Federal number. Now, here's what we do know, according to the law, that this is the back of the card right here. What do we know about corporations? We know that corporations cannot govern. We know that. Corporations cannot govern. We have to govern the resources. And if you look here on the back of this card, it says authorized signature, not valid unless signed. Well, what does that tell me? That tells me that even if I had $1 million in that account, that none of that is valid unless I sign for it. That nobody can use it unless there's a signature on the public record. Take a look at that on the things that you're given. Take a look at it. So all we did with this card here, look at here at the top, property of Navy Federal Credit Union must be returned upon demand. Okay, Navy Federal is me. I'm Navy Federal. You're the CEOs of Navy Federal. Navy Federal is actually one of the Moroccan American Exchange companies. We started that. Look back at their history and look back at the date that they incorporated. They incorporated in 1933, but they had been in existence before that because we put them in existence. Our ancestors did that. 1933. What a coincidence. I'm surprised it didn't say 1871.
I thought you were going to say the 1700s.
I'm surprised it didn't say any of that. But our ancestors were still using it. And then when our ancestors said, okay, 1871 happened and folks went to sleep, and then they said, okay, well, we got to incorporate this so that by the time the Moors wake back up, they can take it back over and use it. And it's not really a matter of taking anything back over. It's just our wealth has access to our wealth is granted simply because of our status and our competence at banking. So we let them know that all of this was taking place, that the account was a state account, Empire State of Morocco account. We already let them know that. You all know the story. You can look back at the past videos if you don't. You can also look at the documents that are under this video, and you'll see the Navy Federal documents and the SWIFT system and everything that has to do with us with regard to the account. Now, this is the creditor version of the debtor account. That's the creditor version. They accepted the 100 million in dollarium with their autograph, with their signature. And it was sitting right on top of 40-some documents. And each of the documents were witnessed by the lower court, the King County Court, and the Snohomish County Court, and the Pierce County Court, and the Thurston County Court. And we've shown you those documents, and they'll be under this video.
Islam.
And Islam.
I have a quick question. As far as doing your banking, instead of using your chosen appellation, why are we using, because I prefer to use my chosen appellation as opposed to the wardship name that was given to me at birth. And I noticed that you are using this more than anything now. All of my identification is on my appellation. Okay, now I did create one with just like yours, okay, which you instructed me to, but I'm just curious, when I started doing my banking...
Well, no, I didn't instruct you to do it. I don't give instructions, I give suggestions, simply because you have the authority to do it the way you want to do it.
I stand corrected.
Because you're the sovereign. You govern your affairs, not me. You govern your affairs. Okay?
I stand corrected.
We can't tell sovereigns what to do. Yeah.
Well, I guess my question is it, can we use either or? You know, I don't want to use...
yes, you can use whatever you want to use. You are the sovereign. You get to be whoever you want to be.
Yes, I understand that, because we put it all on a fiduciary contract and in all different forms of my name and my...
You know, I was about to put that on the screen. You know, I was about to put the fiduciary document on the screen. You know that.
I'm just curious, because I want to get... Because my banking was with my name, my previous name, okay? So I've since closed that out, but I'm going to start it back up again once I get all my banking information done, okay? But I want to use, instead of the name that was given to me at birth, my appellation, which is where I want to keep it at. Listen, you're sovereign. Those are your resources. Now, one thing I noticed about them is they have a dash here. They have a dash there. Well, I didn't want a dash. I could have easily put this in like Tajiri Bay. I could have easily put like Tajiri Bay, or I could have put Pauline Ritchie Bay or Pauline Ritchie L. That's in the documents that we gave them. See, our title of nobility is the foundation for this. So we put it in the document. I am an L by birth. My grandmother, her appellation is Pauline E. Manuel. Okay,
and
great.
we know that the vowels are interchangeable, so it can be AL or EL. Both of those are titles of nobility.
Okay.
So you can do that however you choose to do your documents, your paperwork, your banking, however you want to do your commerce. It can be in the name of a trust or the appellation of a trust.
Empress, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I was just thinking that the day that I would want, or I would prefer to have, maybe the trust appellation on the card or something like that. So thank you for mentioning that.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This is Kansu. Where do we get the card made? So
Islam.
I don't ever like to say that I'll do it, but I have the authority to make them here, but each and every one of you has the authority to make them there too, where you are. Let me show you how I did that. But first, let me put the fiduciary document because I want to address that first with regard to what appellation you put your banking in. Okay. This is what the bank, the custodians in the office of the bank, this is what they received from me. There's my title of nobility given to me by my sovereign grandmother, grand matriarch. This is the fiduciary document. It is witnessed by the lower courts, and yours don't have to be witnessed by a lower court, but I did. This is the subject did it in purple, and then they have a stamp in purple and they have a stamp in red and blue. As you know, here affidavits permitting the use of the state of Morocco sovereign credit, which that's everyone. Affidavits of credence, affidavits of advice, affidavits of mark and reprisal, affidavits of patent, affidavits of testamentary, bills of attainder, international bills of exchange, bank affidavits, judicial banking, all other judicial banking affidavits in affidavit format. In affidavit format, so we write in affidavit. We do everything by affidavit. Here, monochrome. Monochrome means the color of the font style, in capitis diminutio nolo, etc. And then with the fiduciary document, this is the part that's just so key and so important for what we're doing. And I did encourage you to please add numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 to your fiduciary document. But this gives me the authority to use Pauline Denise Ritchie. I can use like to jure in any and all of its formats because the state owns those. The Empire State owns those. Instruments, because these are instruments. This is not me. This is instruments. We have to know that.
Empress, when you say number, when you say put the numbers 1 through 9, are you referring to number you're saying to number the instruments?
No. What I'm saying is, let me show you really quickly and what exactly what that looks like. Just one moment. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay. What that looks like is this.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay, so this is a statement giving us the authority to issue numbers the way that we want to issue numbers. Is that what you mean? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that, and again, that covers the cards. That covers your authority over your card. See, what was going on with the cards and the banking system and all of that is corporations were governing those cards. So just like with the sovereign security number, we needed to issue our own sovereign security number and ban that other one because that's a debtor instrument. We're doing that with everyone and everything. Everything that has been issued by any corporation where the right to travel is concerned. If they issued a driver's license, you ban that one, and then you do an affidavit of right to travel. And you put that number in red and all lowercase letters and then put it in blue for the number that they issued as a driver license number, and then it becomes a travel instrument number.
Have you done one of those
So we
yet?
can do that with everything, huh?
Have you done one of those yet, as far as the travel number?
Yeah, I just use my ID, and the reason I haven't done it is because, again, remember, Article, and that's for those who choose to do that, Article 1508 on the U.S. Department of Justice website says that a national ID card is in the absence of, driver's license, a birth certificate, and any other ID is in the absence of a national ID. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't need travel stuff like that. My ID does it.
Great. So instead of creating a whole nother one, I don't know if you can see your camera, but my old one, I still should be able to use this as well because of the fiduciary document that we put in place.
Of course, of course, of course. It's not pro-tunk.
Beautiful.
It's now for them.
Beautiful.
Listen, it gets easier from here. It gets easier from here. We don't have to jump through a whole lot of hoops. We just got to put the right stuff foundationally on the public record. So, yes, Justice Al-Haq Shabazz, listen, it's our capitalism, not theirs. They didn't have a right to be pimping stuff out like that and us answering for it. So we have to stop answering for their capitalism and put ours in place. Because you can't just get rid of theirs and not put anything in place. You have to put something in place. You have to put something there. A national ID card does it. A fiduciary document does it. Because see, with the fiduciary document, and this is something that we did not know, with the letters and the numbers, they claimed all contracts, no matter what the contract said. If you were using their instruments, their letters and their numbers, they said that's ours still. We don't care if it says Moors and Moorish, that's ours still. Until they wake up and take that properly and use the proper process to take it. Because that's what due process, according to the Constitution, is. Due process is know the process to use, to take it back. So all we had to do is look at what they were doing. Oh, they were putting everybody in debt and leaning everybody? Okay, well, that must be a process we have to use. We speak by affidavit. We don't fill out their forms because their forms are debtor forms. Okay, debtor forms. Now, I will say this more about all that we're doing in these processes and things. Number one, no one has the authority to sell you a process when you can learn it yourself. That's number one. So if anybody's selling you processes and you buy it, that's on you. That's you. Don't be mad at the people selling them if you're buying them. Stop buying them because the information is free. Your nationality and your freedom is not for sale. That's number one. Number two, no one leads you. You lead yourself. Anybody claiming to lead you and try and govern what you're doing and telling you whether or not you have the authority to issue documents and things, if you listen to that, then those are your consequences. No one has the authority to tell you whether to issue an affidavit or not, or to issue a command or not, or to lien things or not. No one has that authority. And anybody don't get mad at the ones trying to take it, because the ancestors will handle that. You're sovereign. Be sovereign. Stop letting people, don't do that. And don't get mad at them either. The ancestors will deal with that. You deal with you. And make sure that you're not letting anybody lead you, even against your spirit. If your spirit is telling you something, listen, because that's your highest authority. You have no leader. as far as that hierarchical stuff is concerned, if you want to subscribe to that, go ahead. That's your sovereignty. And don't complain about what they're saying and what they're doing if you're ascribing to that. You don't know how many complaints I hear about Moore saying, she did this and he did that and they told me to do this and they told me to do that. Did you study? Did you look at the law and see what the law says about that? You have one mother. You have one mother. And mother is not going to charge you fiat when the Constitution is saying don't do that. Because I keep seeing that stuff go sideways repeatedly for people who keep thinking fiat is going to save them. And then trying to hold whoever took the fiat accountable. You can't hold them accountable because you were supposed to do it. So stop paying people fiat. You'd be paying them more if you paid them attention because fiat ain't worth nothing. Now, we through with that part. So these numbers, we want to make sure that we put these numbers on our fiduciary document. Okay? So I took this card number here, and this has been linked because this is a debt instrument. And they let you know it's a debt instrument because it's got a minus sign here, but it's a debt instrument because of who issued it. This is in debt to the Moors. Navy Federal Credit Union. They are in debt to the Moors. They know that. They're aware that they already agreed and all of that. That's all banks are. Because they're not the bank, we are. So we have to get this right. And again, so now how do we use this card? It's prepaid $100 million, right? This is where everything comes from. So these numbers are for the custodians in the office of the bank. This is for their purposes. Okay? And what we do when we send our documents ahead of us, we send the affidavits ahead of us, we send a copy of our ID and a copy of the card, the gold card. And now, Justice Consul, you asked where do we get the cards from? I can make these cards right here. But there is a machine that you can order that will emboss the cards for you. Okay? And it uses no electricity or anything. So, as you know, those banks have been doing things. They've been doing things the regular way and putting up a bunch of smoke screens for us. But we're the bank. So we have to, this has to be done because, again, like we stated in the beginning, that other system, I'll show you what it looks like. Here, let me go to, I'll show you what it looks like. That's what it looks like right there. This right here. Okay.
Islam Empress, are you showing us the card or the machine?
Yeah. The machine.
No, you showing us the
machine that embosses the card. Yeah.
No, you're still showing us the card. You're not showing us the machine.
Oh, okay, sorry. Thank you. Let's see. Just one moment. Thank you. I do that sometimes. Sorry. Okay. There it is. There's the machine right there. See? That's what it looks like.
Okay. Is Amazon accepting our dollarium as of yet right now so that we can get this machine because we don't have...
They're accepting sovereign credit. They're accepting sovereign credit. So make sure that you have terminated all corporate contracts, and then give them a card, like a bank card, and it's not a bank card; it's a debtor card, really, like the red one that's on the screen, the red one that I showed. Okay, so they're still accepting the old. They're still accepting the old way of doing things. We have to set up the new way. Okay. We have to, because that old, and I'll say this, and we talked about this at the beginning of this call, there are a lot of people who've been wiped out completely from that old system. The only people that still have things going back and forth in that system is people like us that are setting up the new system, or people that need to wake up to what's new. So the ancestors are letting us, giving us the time that we need in order to get the new system put together. But we can't sleep on it. We got to do it. It has to be done because that old one, in the bibliopaleotech and in the ancient records, this time that we're in right now and giving us what we need to set up the new system is referred to as the restrainer. Look that up in the bibliopaleotech in the Bible, where it talks about the restrainer and what the restrainer is holding back. But after a while, the restrainer is going to be out of the way. And everything, okay? You don't need security chips and magnetic strips and all of that. You don't need any of that for these cards because we don't bank that way. That's the system that needs to be cleaned out. It's corrupt. It's corrupt.
So basically what she's saying is we're going back to the ledger instead of the way that the banking...
We have to do ledger banking. Okay. We have to do ledger banking. We must do ledger banking because the other system needs to be clean before we can use it. Now, after a while, we'll be able to use electronic transfers back and forth, but we let the bank handle that because they have a way to do it. That's why, not the bank, we're the bank. Yes, Justice Alhack, it's sanitized banking. It's sovereign banking at its finest. We let the custodians deal with that part. That's why you send your documents ahead of time. The custodians will deal with the exchange, that part. They will do as commanded by our affidavits. That's why you send the affidavits beforehand. Just like any nobility does.
Islam.
Do and just out of this, would any dignitary just show up somewhere and out of nowhere? No, they give notice that they're coming.
Okay. Islam, well, so
we have to do the same.
So basically, so that I and everyone else on the call understands this, all of your documents have to be sent to the Library of Congress first. Okay, it's Supreme 6 I'm speaking on. No. No, they don't have to be. No. What needs to happen is they need to be put on the public record by the Moors. And Moors, you don't need anybody to put them on the public record for you. Put them on the public record for yourself. But that's done. That's been done. So basically, what you're saying is, I'm all set. All my documents on the public record right now. So basically,
I don't know if you all set because you know what the documents look like. I don't know if you all set, and I don't have to see or approve anything. You need to know that you're all set.
Okay. So the second part of that
all
question.
Moors need to know that they're all set. Mm-hmm.
Okay, my second part of that question was, but you answered the first part. It don't have to be on the Library of Congress, but they need to have it anyway. But I'm going to put it on there, send it to them as well. And each individual corporation. Say, for instance, we spoke on Amazon. Say I want to get all this stuff straight. I need to make sure Amazon gets these demonstrations so that they understand what's going on when I, submit to them. I'm the creditor.
You're not going to submit. Creditors don't submit.
No. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
So what really needs to happen is that the language that you speak and the language that's on your documents needs to match. The custodians in the office of the CEO of Amazon needs to know what's going on if you're going to use them. Okay? So, and then they need a copy of your card and a copy of your ID card. And when you plan on being there, if you're planning on coming on the first and third Friday of every month to get what you need, then make that known so that they will know to have everything ready for you, and then be prepared to train them. Be prepared to train them when you show up. And we can't do this, again, we can't do this for others. They have to do it for themselves. So no one should be, and I'm just talking in general now. I'm just talking to Moors in general. We each need to know how to demonstrate for ourselves.
I kind of want this manliness video game thing.
Just a moment. I think there's a little bit of noise coming from somewhere here. Okay. You said, Justice Morpheus says, no small picture, self-and-seal in front of the card for now. I didn't put any on this one because I wanted to have it. Number one, I didn't feel it was necessary. Number two, I wanted to have it ready for this meeting. I didn't put a photo or the seal or anything because my documents and my ID will always be with that card. Or a copy of my documents and a copy of the ID will always be with that card. Okay? And again, this is how, now listen, this is how the others that were pretending to be us have been banking the whole time. This is how they've been doing things the whole time. This is how they've been doing things the whole time. So yes, it's new for us, seemingly, but that does not negate our responsibility to govern our vast estate properly, competently, with competent documents and competent processes, and taking back everything that belongs to us. So again,
what fucking
the Empress asked about being able to feed the people. Being able to feed the people, you can do it this way with proper documentation, and also with being ready to demonstrate. Okay? Being ready to demonstrate your sovereign status. Notify. Okay? This is the year for this. This is the time for this. Let's not be distracted by a bunch of the stuff there's a lot of distraction going on while we do this. The distraction, just know this, all that Russia and Ukraine stuff, we're not saying it didn't happen. What we are saying is that is a cover and a distraction so that we can do, and it's not a cover. It's a cover for them, not for us, so that we can get this done. Everyone knew that this was coming. We have to do it, period. Because, and listen, I wouldn't put this on here if I didn't have to do it myself. Yes, I got to do it too. So, and we're in the process of doing all of this, every bit of this. But again, we have witnesses to all that we're doing. And, we've done everything that the state should do, which we're the state, you know. So don't let anybody tell you that, you know, oh, their state processes, they're not through, they're not a state and all of that. No, we were a state at birth. We've been a state since time immemorial, but all we had to do was properly put that on the public record and notify. So just for the record, because we put everything on the public record, agents, principals, heirs, assigns, and any derivatives thereof are now notified. That includes the International Court of Justice Corporation and the International Criminal Court Corporation and all of them, those custodians that are in the office of those courts, because those courts are us too. We are the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court, where we issue these rulings and this justice on the land. So we're just notifying our custodians on the public record that all of this is really happening on our land. So for those Moors, yes, in just a minute, Justice Moore, let me just say this. For the Moors who go and get these instruments to make the cards and things, do not charge the Moors to do this. Don't do it if you're going to charge Moors to do it. If you're going to charge them fiat, don't do it. Just a suggestion. I can't tell you what to do. But if you're going to charge fiat, don't do it. I'm just a messenger. I'm just a messenger. If you're going to charge dollarium, do it. And give them what they need to give you what you need. Now, any more who, you know, the justices at the UK, you all have access to these machines as well. So you can start doing your cards for there as well. No matter where you are on the earth, you can start doing this process. Okay. And again, in order to properly utilize the system the way it was meant to be used, liens have to be in place, but first and foremost, nationality must be in place. It must. Nationality is the order of all days, every day and night. We are coming now out of the dark ages. So it's going to seem like we're doing things manually, but we have to. We are just coming out of the dark ages. We are now in the age of enlightened one, the enlightened one, the illumined one. And so we're starting off the way we should, where we make things where all the corruption can't come. The corruption cannot come into this process. And fiat is corruption. It's corruption, and it's going to corrupt everything you do, and arguments are going to happen until people stop doing that. I'm just saying. And that's again, that's for everybody. That's for everybody who hears me. If you put fiat in your processes, it's going to corrupt it, and then people are going to be arguing and wanting to take folks to quote-unquote corporate court and all of that stuff. And that defeats the purpose of what you're really trying to do. See, the more of us who do this freely and spread the information freely and assist one another either freely or with our own currency, that's going to make it so that it spreads quicker, like a virus. It just spreads. And that's what we want to happen. It's already done. We know that. It's more and more Earthside who know about what we're doing than ever. Are there any other questions or comments or suggestions or anything? Yes, Islam.
Yes, I have a question. This is Justice Malika Kilbay. I have a question about the fiduciary document. I already put it on the record once, but I didn't put all the colors in it, you know, that you have in yours. Do we need to update that? Should I update that and add the 0 through 9, or it's not necessary?
You don't have to update it with the colors because, again, you've already put all monochrome. So yours doesn't have to read exactly like mine because it's not pro tunc, it's now for then, so it covers all areas. And if you want to update it with all the different colors, you can. I left some colors out too. There are some colors that are not on there, but it still includes those colors.
What about the numbers that we added to that?
Now the numbers, I would encourage you to update the numbers. Okay, I would encourage you to do that because we have. Here, let me just take a look. Because of the cards that we're doing. Okay. I would encourage you to update the numbers. So we did make that suggestion. Okay. Yep. So, yeah, it's not necessary to do all the colors because we said all monochrome no matter what it is that hits the eye. Okay, we said that in the fiduciary document, but we want to add the numbers because we didn't put the numbers in the first one, even though our intention was to cover everything. Okay.
Thanks.
Islam. Justice Morley, you had a question.
Islam and first. Yes, I've got a couple of questions actually, but let's say the first one. Just looking at the gold card that you've got there, there are a number of different. You know, I can see a long. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. If you could speak up just a little bit louder.
Right. And let me just see if I can turn this up. If it will work anymore. Can you hear me better now? I'm right up.
Yes,
to
that's better.
Okay. Right. The first question is the card. I noticed all the numbers on there. You've got the 16-digit numbers on there and some other numbers below it, etc. If we're going to make our cards, it's just kind of an idea of where the numbers are coming from. I don't know if you did say, and I might have missed it, but I'm wondering, is there a document that you put out to say, well, these 16-digit numbers, they come from and they're made up such and such, and the numbers below that is made up such and such?
I didn't do one, but you can do one. Again, the 16 digits comes from the system, okay? So all we're doing is uncovering the system that they covered up with their corporate numbers, okay? So these 16 digits come from they are, it's not this card, because this is a debtor card, it's a credit, these are creditor numbers. Okay, so the fiduciary document explains where the numbers came from, the fiduciary document. And then this right here, this 256074974, that is the routing number for Navy, for the Office of Navy Federal Credit Union. Okay. That's the routing number. And then this number right here, 9999154, is an access number. Because this number right here is actually a number that they use to cover up the account number. And that's something that, you know, the custodians at Navy Federal, that's something that was done there.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Okay.
And then the 186 is this number right here. That was on the rear. It's an access number as well.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
We have that on our cards as well, a 3-digit number like that. So if you are purchasing something electronically or over the phone, those 3 numbers are important for the purchase to go through, as well as the 16-digit number and your account number and sort code. Yeah.
It is for the, if you were using this red card, that's what that number would be for. But when we're doing sovereign banking, remember, we didn't say anything about the phone here. See, this is the deal with all of that. If someone called and tried to make a purchase over the phone with these numbers, because of the documentation that Navy Federal has received, they wouldn't take it. They wouldn't take it. They wouldn't honor it. They are given notice in writing of everyone that I'm dealing with.
Okay.
They're given notice in writing. And I don't even speak to them on the phone. Go back and listen to some of the past videos where I was doing the demonstration with Navy Federal. I actually went in to my office and spoke to the custodians and gave them the documents and had them sign for it. 100 million in delarium and 40-some documents. And all I did was go in and say, where's the manager? That's what I said, where's the manager? And actually, what I said, let me go back to that day. What I said that day was, I came in and I said, someone needs to sign for these. And she said the manager will have to do that. And then she went and got the manager, who she called her manager. So that is her manager, but it's not the manager. I'm the manager. So she came, I handed her the documents, and she had a blue ink pen in her hand, and she put her little JC on there. And, you know, because that's what they do. That's how they're supposed to do. When someone comes in with documents that need to be signed for, they sign for them.
Right.
And the delarium was right there in the front, on the top of the document. She didn't even question it, none of that. And they haven't questioned it because it is what it is. It's the truth. Those are true documents. So we don't call on the phone, and like with again, we're merchants, okay? So when it comes to things like Amazon, I won't be really calling Amazon for, you know, I won't really be ordering things from them online. That's number one. Number two, what I would do though is send them something in writing and give them something that says this is what we're doing. This is what the account has in it. And then I would and again, Navy Federal is the one that, the custodians in the office of Navy Federal are going to be working with Amazon with the custodians in the office of Amazon based on what I tell them in writing with a wet ink signature or autograph and my white red thumbprint. And it's got they got the equipment there to match up the thumbprint.
Okay.
Because you know when you go into a bank, in some banks they have you put your thumbprint on and stuff. You know they already got all of that stuff in place. We put it. All custodians have that. Yeah.
That's right. Our thumbprint, from what I understand, is like the seal. It's the seal, basically.
Yes,
so,
that's the authority.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. And another question.
Yeah.
There is, out of the 40-something documents that we're putting on the public record, we're changing.
Can you speak up just a little bit?
Sorry. Out of the 40-plus documents that we put on the public record, there is one document that goes to the bank. It's already got a signature, I think, halfway through. And I was talking to Justice Consul, and we were kind of discussing. We weren't sure if that document needs to be signed at the bank, or if the signature on the document is sufficient enough to just change our appellation and just do what we need to do and sign it and put it on the public record. You get what I mean?
You said that there was a document in there that had only one signature that you think the bank might have needed to sign? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's a banking document. I can't remember the number of it, but it's got a signature halfway down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it just has my autograph on it, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
We're not...
Who is the bank?
We are the bank.
Then the bank did sign it.
Okay, that's all. That's all I needed to know. You were a little bit.
That's a court
just to
order.
make-
That's a court.
Yeah.
That's a court command to the custodian.
Right. Great. Fantastic.
And they know that. They know that we know already. We know what's the real deal. They know we know that already. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, and then another question.
Mm-hmm.
On the liens that we have, I noticed at the just before our signature, right at the bottom of the document, you've got some boxes there that needs to be ticked. And when you look at that lien, I've been trying to look and make sense of the wording that's on there, just to know which box, if any, to tick. I'm not too sure, or we're not too sure, which ones are the ones to actually put a tick in.
I didn't pick any of them.
No,
I didn't pick any of them. The only one that was there are 2 X's that I put on one of them, and that was that the property was held in trust.
Okay. Yes.
That's the only one that needs, because we're not. If you look on that document, we're not bailees or any of that stuff. Because down at the bottom it says something about bailee and all of that on the lien, where those little boxes are down there at the bottom that you're talking about. I didn't check any of those. We just put the property is held in trust.
Great.
And we're leaning the court off of that property.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Islam. Thanks very much.
You're fine. You're welcome. Thank you for your questions, Nobility.
No problem.
Yeah. So, Moors, we have more than enough authority to do the things we're doing. Because Moors were worried about, and I asked the ancestors about it too. A while back I asked them, well, how are the transfers going to be taking place? How does that go? And they showed me that we make everything happen. We make everything happen. And here's the thing. Once that system is completely uncorrupted, all the corruption is out of that system, then it's going to get quicker and easier for the bank or for the custodians to do what needs to be done with regard to getting the transfers done, the exchanges done. Now, know that the exchange is done the minute we notify them. So their processes are their processes, their custodial processes, but it's done when we send it. We don't need approval for any of the things we're doing. We've already approved it because we're the creditors. Okay. It'll take some getting used to more to know that we're the creditors and we can do all of the things that we're doing. It's going to take some getting used to, but we can do it. We can do it. And the things that we are doing the exchanges on, just one moment. Islam, did you have a question, Nobility? Oh, no. Okay. The things that we're doing, are, it may take a little for us to get used to it, but, we will get used to it. We're not used to being the creditors and the heirs and all of that, but everything already belongs to us. So, and then the debtors and the custodians and the subjects, they already know that we already know how to do all of this, So we have to clean up and uncorrupt the system. Islam Nobility.
Islam, this is K2 Ahad L. I wanted to explain. I've been going through something with this. When I put all my paperwork, like 40-something that you was telling about, I put them all on the public record. It went to what's that? The Library of Congress and all those other places. You insist that we put these affidavits. So
do you understand all of the affidavits? Let me just ask you.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
Okay.
I've been basically, I haven't been a Federal Reserve agent in, I say, at least 20 years. I've been self-employed. I make my own products, earrings and all that. I've been very successful at it. But one thing that I've had a problem today, I sent a notification to a federal credit union, and I was trying to open an account, a solvent account. I got in touch with the CEO, and today I just happened to call him, and I was trying to make a date to come and see him, but he wouldn't speak to me. He gives me one of the custodians. Just so happened this custodian was a national. He claims to be a national, and we got into a very good conversation. And I was telling him what's in his wallet. He claims he's got to use nationality, but I noticed everybody, all the ones who's working at the federal credit union, they all melanated, they all Moors. But the only thing they were able to identify with was the fiat. They wasn't aware of anything but fiat.
Let me ask you something. You said that when you were talking to the quote unquote CEO.
I didn't get to talk to him.
Let me ask you, huh? Oh, you didn't?
They wouldn't let me talk to him. He let me talk to one of the other custodians, and I wanted to talk with the CEO, but he wouldn't pick up. I called like 3 times, and I kept getting his brother. He said, "Yo, well, he's busy." He wouldn't pick up, so I plan to go see him personally because it seemed like he was avoiding me for a reason. And they claim, well, I think he put something in these people's ears because it's like saying things to them like, the spelling is not right.
No, he didn't put nothing in their ear, no. Let me tell you what happened so that you can see. And I would ask that you open your eyes, please, so that you can see what I'm saying. Okay. They kept putting you through to a Moor because the Moor is the CEO.
Right.
They know that.
Yeah, but he couldn't identify.
Asking to speak to a CEO when you're the CEO too.
Yeah,
see,
but
when you speak like that, hold on, please. Let me just finish. Please let me finish, and then I'll let you speak. When we call, and Morris, please, this is to everybody. This is not directed only to you. We hear this a lot.
Right.
There is no CEO but the Moors. There is no judge but the Moors. And if you call somewhere asking for a CEO, they're going to show you a mirror.
Right, I get you.
And they're going to avoid you because they're going to say he's not competent yet to know that he's the CEO. And that he should be asking for custodian.
Right. Yeah. I should have said custodian, but he's, according to the Federal Credit Union, the one who I addressed my affidavits to, his name was Weatherspoon. Now he's the CEO, and I asked for him specifically by name.
I'm sorry. What did you say? According to who?
According to the Federal Credit Union, he's the CEO of the credit union.
Who's that? Who's that? According to what Federal Credit Union?
It's the Hill, Pittsburgh Hill District, District in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yes.
Okay, no. So let me just say this again. Credit unions don't speak. Credit unions don't talk. People talk. So who's the CEO? A building didn't tell you that a CEO is somebody other than you. So your concepts about that have to be straightened out before you can make any further progress. Your concepts have to be clear about who the real CEO is, who's really speaking, and why they keep putting you through to a brother every time you ask for a CEO. All right?
Yeah,
That has to be ingrained more in our minds.
Right, I understand.
Or they're going to keep doing that. They're going to keep doing that. And every time you can send them every document that I've sent. But if you pick up the phone and ask for a CEO when your document says you're the CEO, because see, if you had looked at them documents, it says we're the CEO.
True. Yeah.
That's why I asked
you right.
what I asked you about the documents, brother.
Yeah. I get it.
I'm glad you did the demonstration, though.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did it.
Yeah, it was enlightening. It was enlightening. But what I've been hearing tonight, it seemed like it was missing pieces I needed to know about, you know, like that system there, and how we
not
need
about
to.
The system. No, the system is fine. You had some missing pieces you need to know about you. About you. You're
right.
the CEO. You're the president. You're the postmaster general. You're the secretary for sovereign state. You're all of that. Go back and look at the document that you sent and see that that's true.
Right. Well, it seems like every time I approach them, it's like a war energy. I went into a bank and I keep getting this war energy from these people, and it's like
yes, because you're warring. Listen, brother, let me just say this. You're warring because you don't know who you are yet. And you keep trying to give them titles that they don't want.
Right.
They don't want to be CEO. They don't want you calling them CEO because they still can't touch nothing without your permission.
True.
And that would piss me off too. I would be mad too. Excuse my French. I would be mad too.
Right.
If you keep saying
right.
I'm a CEO, and I keep looking at all this gold in the vault, and I can't touch it without your permission. So stop calling them that. That's war.
Yeah.
Because you're putting them in a position they don't have.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah, I get you. I get you now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
You must know that, brother. You must know that. And that's why I asked you, what I asked you before you even got your question out is, did you read and do you understand those documents that you put on the record? Because you can put them there and they are true. And the bank knows those documents are true for you. Now, do you know that they're true for you?
Yeah, I know they're true, but I just don't know the banking system. That's it. It's the banking system and how it works. It's getting...
No, that system is run by a bunch of... It's run by us, and we got a bunch of custodians that are doing what custodians do. That you need to know. When you speak, you need to know that. When you're demonstrating, you need to know that. And then you don't speak to them without doing a court action first, because, again, what comes out of your mouth must match what's on the paper.
Right. Okay.
It has to match what's on the paper.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to do, court action.
And then know that they're custodians. See, the court action puts them in custodial subject status.
Right.
Okay? All right.
Yeah, that's what I did. Thanks.
Yes, yeah. Moors, listen to me. We hear that all the time, so brother, don't even feel bad. We hear it all the time. And we've made that mistake in the past, and that's how we learned. We had to learn. We couldn't know, man knows not by being told. We actually have to demonstrate and know. I honor your demonstration that you did, brother. You got to keep demonstrating. And that's when they start to war, is when they feel like we don't know who's who.
Right.
They switch and go into corporate status. Because, see, let me say this about that. Don't take that personally. They're actually supposed to do that with citizens coming in there trying to be sovereign. That's why
That's
we
true.
have to know what we're talking about when we go to those places, or when we're talking to them.
I sort of undressed this guy was a Moor because he wasn't ready for my question. He wasn't ready. He hasn't really got his well, you call it he hasn't given up his social and things like that. So he and so in so many things I was able to inform him on, like what was that? We got into a long conversation about Rockefeller and Frederick T. Gates, and how the educational system back in 1902, and he was taking down notes, and he didn't know all these things about how the educational system and how we've been dumbed down. And even though he may have went to college and he's the CEO, worked for a financial institution, you might still think like a child. You might, just because you know how to spell, that means you know the definition of words. There were so many things we got into that he wasn't. That I was glad to talk with him on it. He needed that. He needed that. So
well, the ancestors knew he needed it too.
Yeah.
The ancestors knew he needed it too, so that he can take his rightful place in there, because they're trying to push CEO duties onto him, and he don't realize why. He's wondering why they keep sending on, because he needs to know who he is.
Yeah, I said, yo, I'm like telling you,
CEO. They got him signing everything anyway, and he's probably wondering, why do they have me signing all these documents that say CEO?
Right.
He don't
but it
know.
was a pretty interesting conversation. No, he don't know. But it was, he needed it.
Thank you, Nobility.
He took a lot of notes.
That. We appreciate that. Just
no doubt.
You just have to adjust a few words, and you own it. You are already on it. You right on top of your estate, right there.
Yes, be there. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. And see, this is the thing too, Nobility. They didn't hang up on you as if you were wrong about what you were saying and doing.
Nah, he spoke. He didn't want to get off the phone because he kept taking notes. Right. I could have stayed on all night with him. Wow.
You're right about what you're saying. They just have you have to adjust a few words so that you stay in the proper jurisdiction, and then they'll do exactly what you tell them. They'll do exactly what you tell them.
Yeah,
you own it,
I feel that.
You own it. You own it.
No doubt.
You own it.
Yeah,
Stay right there.
I give it the floor. Yeah, you're
sure. Yeah, Islam. Thank you for sharing that, brother. That's what I'm saying. Moorish, listen, we got you already. They're not like slamming doors and shutting things out and things like that. But we do have to be, we have to continue to rise in what we're saying and doing. Make sure that our language says that we're the boss. Okay?
Right.
Make sure that our language says that.
No doubt.
Yeah.
We gotta be ourselves. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yes, we do. They're ready too. They're ready for us to be.
Oh yeah.
And it's not based on them. We're ready to be ourselves because we know that this estate belongs to us. So none of us should be suffering. None of us should be homeless. None of us should be without. None.
No.
None of us should be without. But you know what? We have got to get rid of that fiat energy. That has to go. And we have to be ourselves and just let what comes out of our mouth match the document. And we good. We got this.
Yeah.
Already. Thank you, Nobility.
No doubt.
Appreciate you. Much appreciation.
Yes,
because every demonstration that you do, when you make calls like that and you start speaking more science and things like that, it's breaking and casting spells like it's supposed to.
Yeah, it does.
You're making it easier for the Moors who come after you.
No doubt.
You're making it easier for the ones who come after you. So, and all Moors are doing that, making it easier for the Moors that come after us to do the things that they need to do, So, Islam. Are there any other questions or comments or wisdom that you want to share?
Islam.
Islam nobility.
Al Shabazz L here in Georgia Territory.
Islam.
Are we still moving the mail? Because I got a piece of it going from here at Georgia Territory to District Columbia. I was just.
What do you mean? Are we still moving mail?
Doing mailings, like mail runs.
All day, every day, a lot, all the time.
Okay.
Using our government mailing process, so we don't need fiat to do that. Yes, Justice Dawood has it up on his screen there. Let me see if I can put that screen here, so that you all can see what he has there. There it is, right there on the screen. You see Justice Dawood is holding up hold that up, Justice Dawood. I'm sorry, Justice Raymond. I'm sorry.
In the chat.
Yes, he's holding it up. It's on the screen. Hopefully you all can see it on the screen. Let me see if I can all screen sharing. And so that you can see Justice Raymond is putting it there.
Screen sharing is paused.
Can you see it there?
Oh, well, it says screen sharing is paused. But, wait a minute.
Just one moment. Hold on a minute. Let me see.
Okay.
Keep it up there, Justice Raymond.
Okay, I see it. Kind of. Oh, all right.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah, hold that up there, Justice Raymond, so they can see. Those are the postage stamps for the government mailing process.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yes, I have those.
We don't use fiat to do any of that. Anything that we do, we are doing it. The only thing that we have been using sovereign credits for, and still that's not even fiat, that's sovereign credits, where we are swiping cards and things like that on accounts where the corporate contract has been terminated. Mm-hmm. We've been swiping cards using using sovereign credits, but fiat, we don't use it. We just use those sovereign credits, and then as we're setting up the system, that will make it so that we don't have to use, so that old system can go on.
Absolutely.
So it can go. And then I'll say this, watch carefully, Moors, because from this point forward, the acceleration will go on nuclear. It's going to go on hyper. After today, it's going to go on hyper, nuclear. It's going to fall really quickly. And by the way, tonight, middle of the night, it'll be the full moon. Tomorrow, the moon is almost full. And then Saturday it'll be full. Justice Raymond, thank you so much for putting that on the screen. Appreciate you so much. So are there any other questions or comments with regard to banking and the things that we are doing where we are doing reversion of the state? Because that is absolutely what this is. Making sure that those, yes, Islam.
Islam, this is K2 Ahadel. I wanted to, I'm on my phone right now, and I was hoping maybe you can email me the information about the sovereign credit, how to open an account or whatever. Is it possible that I can get information on it? Because I don't think I quite get it. Yeah, the documents, yeah.
Yeah, the documents are, they're going to be under this video. Okay? It's quite a few documents, but those six documents, the 6 most powerful court actions is the name of the video. It's about 3 or 4 videos back. Look at that video, and it will tell you how to do that. Okay?
Okay,
so
how to
our nationality has to be on the public record. Nationality has to be on the public record. The account, whenever you're opening, when you are opening an account, you must know that they are the custodians, and that is it. And we speak by affidavit. That is how you open your bank account at your bank of which you are the CEO.
Right.
You got to know.
Yeah.
Speaking of hierarchy, you have to know that hierarchy first. If you don't know that you're at the top of the pyramid, then your language is going to say something that sounds like fraud. Because you're going to be calling them something that they are not. They're custodians, and they know it.
Right. Yeah, I was listening to all the for a while, and I think I got it the way we should speak with authority when speaking to them and tell them like what to do. Like, you know, we are the fiduciary. I got all that. The whole thing is, if I was to go and speak, you know, I need to know if access to a treasury account and numbers and things like that. If there was such a thing.
Then you need to know who the treasury is. Do you know who the treasury is?
Right. I am the treasury.
Okay.
We all the treasury. Yes.
And then you would notify custodians at a treasury, wouldn't you?
Right.
By affidavit of whatever you intend to do, or any custodians at any office of the bank, because we're the bank. So when you speak to them in their proper status, they'll do exactly as you command.
Okay.
And some people talk about opening accounts with foreign documents and W-8 bins and all of that. Mm-hmm. Our subjects are not foreign to us. Corporations are foreign, but subjects are not.
Right. Okay. I think I'm good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
So speak by affidavit to open accounts. Know that you're speaking to custodians, and then just tell them that you're the CEO, and prove that you're the CEO with a lien and a court action, and everything has to be done by court action. See, what you're sending them, Moors, what you're sending them is court orders, court commands. They don't, custodians, thank you for that up there. Let me see, who is that? Oh, Justice Al Hack showing that money. He's what y'all say? Showing that delirium. There you go. That's real money right there. He is paid. So that's how you speak to them. Know that they work for you. They always have. That's the real union. Okay? The union is custodians, the Moors, the sovereigns, and their subjects.
Right. Right. Okay. I think I wasn't sure.
Justice Raymond got his too.
While we're speaking on the delirium, Empress, I don't know if you was aware of this, but the one here, if you can see this is delirium with Noble Drew Ali. Wait, let me put it back in the picture.
Yes. Yes, Islam.
Okay. This one is 100,000. But the one you sent me had him with $1 billion.
Yes, that was the updated one because someone, the treasurer, our treasurer, which is she's one of our treasurers, which is Empress Kenya. She felt in her spirit that he needed to be on a higher denomination. So when the treasurer says she's feeling in her spirit that he needs to be on a higher denomination, we say Islam.
So basically,
there's no confusion there. There's no confusion there simply because you will, by your affidavit, dictate how much it's going to be. So they can even, you're going to be dictating how much, which one, because it's coming from you. Okay? And then I think the other, the 100,000, she put someone else on the 100,000. I would have to go back and look and see. But again, Morris, if your autograph is on it, then they have to use it the way you say use it. period. Okay?
Islam, Empress. Is there any way we can get that updated Delarium template?
And please, when you send
is there any way that you can get the what?
Delarium templates is what he was asking.
Oh, yeah, they're sent by email.
Well, okay. Since we're on that, I think I told you last week, I don't know if you remember, but I did mention it that the Delarium template was not working because it's different than the one we previously had. I don't know if you were aware of this. For instance, the $1 trillion one, not lined up. The one with your mother's picture on it won't line up because you have 3 different pages. Okay, and it should be 2 pages.
So then use the first one. Yeah, so just use the first one because it's still the same.
But it won't let you delete the middle one. It won't let you delete it. Any program. I mean, I use Libra, I use Office, I use Microsoft Office, I use all these different ones trying to get rid of that center one. You know, and it won't allow. So basically, I can't print anything but using that template.
Okay, so then if you have them by email, you can select it with a screen capture or a snipping tool. You can select it and put it onto a Word document fresh.
You may also need to change the landscaping. Like there's you can do a different look. There's landscaping in another one. Maybe if you adjust that, maybe it'll assist.
Yeah.
I will try
because I had issues with it too, and then I did something and figured it out. So
yeah,
I wish I could give more details. I'll look at it and present it on the next call if I can.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yes,
Islam.
thank you.
Islam.
But the Kinko's will have mine printed out. If you don't have time
to
do it, then get somebody to do it.
Just one moment. Let me see. Are there any other questions or wisdom of the? Just one moment. Islam, Empress.
Yes, Empress Hashamel here in Brooklyn. I had required some information regarding the delirium. I sent you an email. I have not received any response from you.
What is it that you needed? Template?
I wanted several of the amounts of delirium. Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to know whether you did get my email.
I may have gotten it. We are about 1,200 emails behind. And again, I'm in the process of getting more help with ministry work. And just one moment. Let me see. Can you give me, just one moment. Just one moment. Can you give me the first 3 letters of your email address? Just the first 3 letters.
The initial M. Hashem L.
Okay. And what email did you send it to?
To the one that was needed to the government.
Okay.
It was Sunday, I believe. I had put it
this past Sunday?
Email. This Sunday, yes.
Today's the 14th, so that was probably the 11th or the 10th.
But Today the 14th, maybe it was the 4th or the 3rd. I don't know, it's been a week.
I don't see it here. I don't see it here. I don't see that email here. You said maybe it's
all right.
Be...
I can resend it because I was reaching out to Justice Jamal. He wasn't responding, so I said, I don't know if anyone is responding to me or they're not getting my correspondence by phone or by email.
He might be buried in emails like I am. But what we do is I try to look through them and see.
Well, I have no problems. I can
what the nature is. Huh?
I can resend it. I mean, it's like I said before, because I'm still at the basis of sending my...
Because I don't see it here.
All right. Did you check the 3rd of the Sunday? I know it was on a weekend. I know it's been a week.
A week? Okay. Yeah. Let me see. I'll check the 3rd.
Yes.
Just really quickly. Yeah, I responded to. I got quite a few on the 3rd. I did respond to a majority of those. I don't see anything here on the 3rd from. Just one moment. Let me check one other thing here. Yeah, that's not yours. Nope, I don't see it here on the 3rd.
All right, I will make the effort to resend it again. Because I'm still basically sending my documents, you know, I still have to do, what is the word?
Can you tell me, can you spell out the email that you sent it to? No, the one that you sent it to, can you spell it out?
It was to the government. I don't have that information. The one that you said put it in that subject.
Okay.
It was to the government.
Okay, make sure that government has an E on the end.
E, exactly.
Okay. Thank you, Empress. Yep. If you'll resend it, that would be great because I don't see it in there.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Islam.
And thank you for your patience as well to all the Moors who have sent emails. We're going through them. Thank you to those who sent Delarium and who are sending it faithfully every month. We so appreciate that. That just gives us just even more life, if that's even, or life energy.
There's a lot of energy, a lot of positive energies. I'm picking it up. It's like a magnet, really. Just picking it up like a magnet.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's very.
I'm telling you, listen, that Delarium energy is just amazing. It's amazing. Just send some and watch and see how amazing the energy is when you send your own money, and you can send as much as you like. So, with that being said, if there's, Islam,
nothing else to share with you and all the rest of the Moors.
Thank you so much, and we're glad to hear your voice, Empress, because we don't hear from you very often.
Well, because I was buried in, I think I shared with some information with getting someone to type it up, and I'm doing some of that as well. And I'm still
typing up documents. Yay!
Not typing them up, but I'm talking about long-handed, doing the longhand. And like I said before,
beautiful.
I can type it.
Beautiful.
Yes, it's good, but it still doesn't look professional. Yes, but I'm working on that.
When you write it, it does. It's coming from the Queen, the Empress. It's coming from the High Court. Yes.
But I realize typically, business-wise, ethically. So if you don't have all the means I need, because you encouraged me to do that, and I was waiting for someone and trying to find someone to actually type it up, and I went to that, started to perceive that with the long hand. I did a few documents, just locally to the custodians here at the courts because I had an issue with the court. And I think whatever documents I put out there, I don't think they're going to respond. They're not going to respond. They're not going to try to evict me. No.
Not. You're actually putting the law in writing, Empress. Come on now.
I'm grateful because, like I say, I was just going to wits. I had an attorney. And I said, nope, I got rid of him. I got rid of the codes. I'm working on little by little. But I said, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
And you're still in your place, aren't you?
I am.
Yes, because little by little means that you're moving in the right direction. Just keep moving. Keep your energy clean. Keep ego out of it. Keep your spirit clean and keep moving. Just keep moving, keep learning, keep looking, just keep moving forward. And the ancestors will honor everything that you do.
Yes, I detect that. I really detect that. And not only that, like I said, the energy that is flowing with the efforts that I have achieved. And I know what I need to do. I'm beginning to learn that, like I've heard other Moors spoke about, they didn't feel confident, but to my surprise, I am just amazed, and I'm very happy and grateful for that.
Yeah,
and you are an inspiration. You are an inspiration to me, Empress. You really are. There are many more other sisters and queens and empresses out there, but like I said before, they are there. They are there for all of us if we open up and accept one another.
Yes.
I'm thankful and very happy for this.
Yes.
Very happy.
Islam. Keep going, Empress. Just keep going. Stay in tune with the spirit and keep going.
Thank you.
Islam.
All right.
Islam.
Oh, yes.
Yes, to the noble that was asking about printing up the Delarium, what I was saying was you may have to change the style. Let me go to the email really quick. You may have to change the style from landscaping to portrait. Maybe that'll help. I know one thing I did, I wasn't able to get the settings and everything right on the computer in the domicile, so I went to Office Depot and it printed out beautifully, the front and back. So I hope that helps.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Thank you, Empress.
Islam. Thank you, Empress.
Islam.
I did try that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Islam.
Oh, Lord, we got this. We have so got this. It's just a wrap. It's a wrap. Boy, I'm excited. I'm so excited for us.
Empress Light.
Are there any other comments or wisdom?
Yes. Empress Light?
Islam.
Okay. You have the California Constitution.
The Empress Chatali, are you speaking to us?
Yes.
Okay, it just sounds a little muffled. Go ahead.
That's turning my God.
I sent you the California Constitution.
My document has this long time.
Yeah, it's very distorted. The line is very distorted from what I can hear.
I sent you the California Constitution. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yes, I saw it. I saw the email come through. I haven't looked at it yet, but I saw the email come through. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
I'm so excited. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I believe I can do the Nevada one as well.
Ooh, yes, 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 Empress. Thank you.
You're welcome. Peace and love.
We got this.
Yes. I'll see everybody at the next call. Peace and love.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Moorish, listen, we'll go ahead and conclude the call because I don't want it to go too long, but I will say this. Those constitutions are so powerful. If you have not sent in to the government@gmail.com the Constitution for your territory, go online, please, and look at those constitutions. Pull them off, put them on Moorish government letterhead, put them in blue in capitis diminution minima, which means, first letter capitalized, or put them in capitis diminution nullo, which means no capitalization. And get them put on the public record, and you can do that freely. Put them on social media or somewhere like that, and then send it to the government@gmail.com, please. That is so important. It's so important for where we're going and what we're doing to reclaim the territories and put the constitutions for them in place. With that being said, I have nothing further, heirs. So if there be nothing, Grand Rising, the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine,
Peace and love to the Moors.
Islam.
Islam.
Peace and love, Moors.
Islam.
Right. Hello.
Moors.
Grand Rise.
Islam.
Peace and love.
Islam.